been very fortunate to be learning from great mentors. And I think some of the things I just talked about it earlier, which is don't scale chaos. I think that's something that your team here, that some of the listeners can use. Don't scale chaos, process before people, which is kind of what we just talked about it. And just solve for the long term, right? No shortcuts. Solve for long term, no shortcuts. And that mindset has saved us millions. And that is the mindset that we have kept our 91% retention rate, because we take care of our people. People are super important. They are not dealing with chaos. They have clarity. They know what to build and how to go about doing that. And same thing with our clients. So that's what I'm saying.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Ignite podcast. Today we're thrilled to have Rajeev Rai, the co-founder and CEO of QASource. Rajeev built one of the world's leading software QA and engineering services firms, trusted by both Fortune 500s and many startups alike. Not only is he a technical leader with deep QA expertise from Apple and Adobe, but he's also a Team Ignite partner, and we're thrilled to have him on the team. Today we'll explore how QASource can directly help portfolio companies scale faster, ship more confidently, and build more resilient products. Thanks for coming on, Rajeev.
Thank you for having me, and it's an honor, Brian. I'm glad to be here.
So you spent time at Apple and Adobe before starting QASource, which was many moons ago. What gaps in the QA space got you inspired to launch your own firm?
I started my career at Apple like 30 years ago. Oh my God, that's many, many moons ago. I gotta tell you, man, at Apple and Adobe, QA was really treated as a first-class citizen. We were, baked into the DNA of engineering. QA was the bridge. That's really how it was at Apple and then at Adobe. And that between Apple and Adobe, I started another company. At Apple, QA was the one that connected product managers, usability teams, support staff, engineers, and ultimately the customer. I remember we were talking about the time when we didn't have daily releases. At that time, the product releases used to be 18 months, 24 months, right? So it was super important. QA was really deeply respected. And I saw how much impact a great QA team could have on user experience, velocity, trust, right? That's what I saw at Apple and then at Adobe as well. However, the moment I stepped outside those walls, I saw a different story. In most companies, QA was an afterthought. Nobody really owned it.
This is fascinating. So at Apple, it was a first-class citizen. It was the connective glue amongst all the different teams shipping products. But you got out into the software world and you're like, whoa, they're kind of like second-class citizens. And that was my experience in Silicon Valley as well. The QA engineers aspired to be just, full stack devs and get out of QA.
It's funny you say that. Actually, if you go on our website and you do time machine it, it says on my website, when you join QASource, QA is just not a stepping stone to get a job in development. QA is a career. When you join QASource, QA is a career, and that is what really excited engineers. When you join QASource, you're actually going to build a career. What I typically say is in software discipline, when you're building software, developers are trained to be constructive engineers. QA engineers are trained to be destructive engineers. Really, that's what we did. So you asked me a question like why, what inspired me to sort of start QASource, right? I mean, for me, the biggest thing was I'll see all these founders, they will build these great products. And when they give great products, they go out and ship it and they weren't well QA'd and they'll stall out and they'll crash and it's just like QA failed them. It was kind of frustrating. It was not only frustrating, it was kind of tragic, really. I mean, now you can build a company in 6 months and if things don't work and then you can probably start over, but that didn't used to be the case, because really the great QA, in my view, isn't like I said, it was an afterthought. It's really not a sort of a cost center. QA is a force multiplier, and that's what really inspired me to start QASource.
That's really inspiring to hear that, actually, because Apple is just known for shipping such great products, right? And maybe not recently, but definitely back then they were. But historically, I mean, your quality is everything, especially for user experience. So, how should early stage companies and enterprises think about outsourcing the QA to someone like QASource? And when do you know you have a problem with QA that can be solved with a firm like yours? Yeah, let's start with startups. When should a startup firm think about outsourcing their QA to a firm like yours, and when do they know that it's kind of time?
The time is now. The time really is now. Startup companies many times will wait too long, right? And you don't want to start digging a well when the fire has started, right? So when people ask me a question, when, I mean, but again, I understand, for early stage companies, They want to be able to. They like you. I get it. Because they want to go fast. Speed feels like survival, right? I mean, and QA is often seen as a bottleneck. It's not something new to us. We see that all the time. And when people come and tell me, I'm like, no, you're not unique. That's very normal. Yeah, the QA is, when something slows you down and the founders feel like, oh, wow, there's layers of complexity. They were adding layers and, they can't afford it, because they want to get, so I think for us, you want to get started as quickly as possible. Difference between starting now and starting late really could be is, you're dominating the market or you're going to be quietly disappearing. For us, that's really important for founders to start QA as quickly as possible. And then it's our job to help founders build software faster, better, and cheaper. But we get involved, QASource gets involved. Imagine when your QA headaches are gone. Your QA headaches just go away. So now you can make decisions predictably. You can make decisions confidently. You're able to, you're not just shipping and hoping and praying that things are going to work. You know that your team. So what I like to tell people, or actually many of the founders, they say, work with me. I'm like, hey, my job isn't, I'm not a gatekeeper. My job is to identify risk for you. And I want to give you, this is a risk when you ship. And you can ship now or you can ship later. And so, sorry, I'm going rambling here. To answer your question, when should they get started? They should start now. That's really.
So that's interesting. So sometimes I run into founders, these are really early teams, pre-seed teams, maybe even pre-revenue, right? Is there a certain engineering headcount that makes sense or a certain revenue amount that makes sense where we're early, but we're far enough along that actually having a robust QA platform like QASource makes sense?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, let me clarify that. Yeah, you're right. No, I don't think. I think founders are good enough to be until their MVP is done, until they've got their first couple customers, right? And it's when you are now, these are not friendlies anymore. Okay, these are not your friend list. Kind of what happens when you're selling early on, and you're selling to your friends, or you're selling, you got some introduction from the VCs or your friends in the industry. But now, when you want to start selling to strangers, then you really want to get QA involved. So it's past the MVP stage. It's typically when you are, it's not just the two founders cranking at it, cranking code and building something, right? It's
Yeah, you're starting to scale out the engineering team. You got a few engineers, you got some revenue, you got some repeatability in the business. You're starting to scale up, sell to strangers. Let's think about the opportunity cost. So, what's the opportunity cost of waiting too long? You get to millions of revenue, you're starting to ship buggy code. Like, what's the opportunity cost? And what are some of the mistakes that you see early stage founders kind of making?
well, the opportunity cost really is your momentum. I mean, really, it's your momentum. It's your reputation.
And it's all that technical debt that creeps in, right? Because you're just shipping stuff, and next thing you know, your engineers are like, "Hey, we need to pause for a sprint or 2 and debug everything
Oh yeah,
and refactor everything."
you have engineers who are frustrated. Well, what are we doing here? I've seen startups where they will be spending months undoing the damage because the support tickets are piling up, customers are churning, engineers are burning out, because they're fixing what could have been caught early. Ironically, the speed vanishes, right? So many times it could be their entire shot. I mean, I've seen companies. I mean, remember, Brian, we've been doing this for 25 years. And I think you know this. Some of the companies,
Since I was in college.
sorry,
No, that's great, that's great.
this should excite you. I mean, I have customers who've been with us for decades, and these companies joined us when you asked me a question, when should they start? They started working with us when they were 5, 10 engineers, and now.
And these aren't no-name companies. You work with some of the biggest brand names out there and handle their QA. I mean, maybe you could rattle off a few of those. They're quite impressive.
Okay, so many I cannot name, some I can name. There are many I cannot name. As a matter of fact, some of them we do the work in our facility. I'm not even allowed to go in there. So you can imagine the companies who build software like that. So even I'm
If
not
you
allowed
told
to go
us,
in
you'd
there.
have to kill us.
So those are the companies. Some of the names I can do, like which is I like to give an example. They trust us so much that they're competitors, but they use us. Notion, Airtable, Coda, which got bought up by Grammarly, Slack. These are the companies who were our clients when they were just starting out. And so those are some of the companies that are in the valley. And these
Plus
are
some
just
that you can't even name, you're under NDA, and I mean, that's really incredible, and it kind of for founders listening out there, it kinda shows you the biggest and best, fastest growing companies in the history of the valley. use firms like QASource. I think that's important to kind of just put a punctuation exclamation mark next to. And as somebody who built a bunch of product at big companies like Microsoft and lots of startups and everything in between, unicorns, companies that failed, that built products that sucked, nobody used them, they were buggy. I know the value firsthand of a good QA team, whether they're in house or outsourced. So that's why I was excited to do the podcast. So for any portfolio founders listening, what's an ideal first QA engagement look like? Let's say they're pretty early, the seed Series A kind of company.
You and I had spoken about this, and one of the things, being in the valley for 30 years, like I told you, right? I mean, we actually want to, for your portfolio companies, companies that are really, series, I think it's even the seed stage, right? They only have like 5, 10 people.
We invest pre-seed and seed, and then we will follow on sometimes in the A. So we with 200 and plus companies now, we have a full spectrum of stages in the portfolio. But the sweet spot's probably seed. You got about 1 million of ARR. You're starting to kind of scale, and yeah, for companies like that, what's that?
For your portfolio companies, we want to make it real easy for them. I think for them, you don't need to make any long-term commitment. And I think even if you are building a mobile app or you're building a platform, and where, I mean, AI is a rage these days as well, right? I mean, it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. If you're building a Gen AI app and you need to be able to test it, and it's very different than testing a regular app, they can connect with us. And really, the people ask me like, what, how do you get up to speed? How do you know what we're building? For us to really, if it's a formula, we're going to come in, we're going to become part of your team, we're going to understand your product, we're going to understand your domain, we're going to understand your people, we're going to understand your process, and literally start producing within a week.
Wow.
Within a week, you'll start to see results. And our goal is to help you build software faster, better, and cheaper, and take your QA headache away. And now all of a sudden, all the work that your engineers, again, I'm not saying when you engage QA team, you're giving a license for your developer to develop crappy code. No, that's really not true, right? I mean, they still have to, because you will see in the valley, there are companies that say, I don't have any QA. Well, that's really not true. You do have QA. You just have other people doing QA, and they're not specialists, right? So your companies, they just can come in, and we'll have a special area for Team Ignite founders on our website. They come in, pick a package, very simple, 100 hours of QA, and within a week they'll start to see results. You don't need to bring in any infrastructure. All you got to do is, hey, this is my product, and if you have a particular sort of challenge you're running into, let us know. But other than that, we bring you a lead, QA lead, we bring you QA infrastructure, we give you a platform, all of that to get started. It's very fairly straightforward.
I'm guessing we'll also expand that to anybody, whether or not they're in the portfolio. We'll include some links in the show notes so people can kind of, anyone listening out there that's starting to scale and starting to think about, hey, I have a few engineers now. I need better QA. I need better quality code. We'll include something in the show notes. But pretty amazing. Can you walk us through your blended model, what that means? What is a blended model and how it delivers cost efficiency and deep expertise?
That's interesting that you're talking about blended model. I don't know if that's on our website or where you got that one from. Pre-COVID blended model is huge because I have a theory that I don't run a night shift. I did not run a night shift forever because I think any engineer worth their salt won't work a night shift just because you can't really attract good talent. And also it just impacts the quality of life a lot too.
Well, yeah, especially if they're in the Pacific time zone and you're asking them to work, start work at 8 o'clock at night. They're just not gonna like that.
Exactly, right. So we had started the blending cost model. That's when we started our Mexico facility as well. That was a nearshore without time zone tax. So we started that. And then we also have engineers here. Some of our clients do want to have an engineers co-locate. Some part of the engineers co-located with the clients on site, and a large part of our team in India. So our business models, let me explain our business model. Secure Source enables you to build your software 24/7. Literally, you're in the Pacific time zone, you're working here in the daytime, and then you have another team that works in 90% of our 95% of our staff is in India, and they work in the night shift. And then some of our clients will say, okay, well, then, but I need some people to be here. So they will be co-located or either on the site of the client or at our Pleasanton office here in the same time zone. Some of our clients they don't have to be, especially now when you're working on Zoom. If you're in London or you're in Los Angeles, it doesn't really matter. So some of them will use our Mexico. So blending cost model really enables you to have engineers working in the same time shifts, but part of the engineers, and then a large part working in India. So essentially, you are building software at scale at a fraction of a cost. That's our blending cost model work, and without the headaches of time zones or communications, because we take care of all of that for you.
Yeah, so you have multiple different engagement models. It could be co-located, it could be at the same time zone, it could be they could be working at night in a different time zone, after all everybody's submitted the pull request at the end of the day. How do you guys see the modern how do you guys support modern data stacks? And we should talk about, right, and how AI is impacting, QA, especially, with code gen and, more code than ever is being generated. How are you guys kind of adapting, and what do you see out there in the market?
Yeah, it's interesting. We should talk about that. What happened with Gen AI? We've been in the AI space. Gen AI is sort of the GPT launched in October of 22, I believe, right? Somewhere around there, right? I mean, people were using before, but that's when it really became the rage. Some of my customers, like LivePerson, Nuance, we've already been doing ML AI work. So we're building our own infrastructure. We were building our own test case infrastructure that we could leverage to support AI applications, AI first applications. However, when Gen AI came in, some of our work became obsolete. I have no shame in admitting that, and we just had to, reboot, restart, and see how we could continue to do that. So we are really supporting. Now, there's really multiple types of applications. We have clients. Remember, I said I can't name many of them. So some of the known ones here in the valley, millions of people use them, are our clients where all the models that you're using, guess what? Those have to be tested by someone. Those models hallucinate. Those models give you unethical responses. Those models will have, prompt injections. They're going to give you incorrect. So some of those things have to be tested. That's something we test. Whether it's a model, again, the boundaries you're looking at it. We actually have clients who are just working on the boundaries. And so, that's, we test on that. Then there's microservices, which has been around for a long time. We can test those, whether APIs in isolation or under load. If you're doing your CI/CD pipelines, if you don't have it, we can help you build one. If you have it, we can use that as well. The company itself has 1,500 engineers. We have 1,500 engineers working in various
Wow.
different disciplines. Whether you are integrating AI into your existing product, whether you're building an AI native product, whether you are building, LLMs, or building your own foundational models, or you're helping refine foundational models, all of those are our customers. They work with us.
So what does scaling QA look like, as you kind of engage companies that go from seed to A to B and beyond? Like how do your engagements evolve over time?
It's we are part of your team. We have many clients who started with us. Just like we asked me, how could your portfolio companies get involved? We start with one or two members. We are embedded. We are part of you. And as you're growing, it's not necessarily going to be more people. It's going to be, oh, now I need to be able to ensure my performance works. So I need to be able to make sure my security works. I need to be able to now go support on multiple different models. I need to be able to support now building multiple products. So, we grow with you, whether it's through people, whether it's through technology, whether it's through process. It's just software development. One thing we know, we cannot slow down the speed, but at the same time, we cannot introduce chaos, because you can't really scale chaos. When we are working with the clients, we are helping them make sense out of chaos, and we're introducing processes. We're introducing systems, and wherever we needed people, we're bringing people. Wherever we needed technology, we're bringing technology. We need new tools, we bring those in. And the needs will continue to change, and will continue to adopt for our clients.
You've also been turning the company into an AI first company over the last couple of years. What's interesting about that? I'd love to hear about the challenges, tactics, things like that. And how do you see AI kind of impacting QA going forward?
How is AI impacting us forward? We just finished a project with a client, and this is, and I know there's a lot of people saying, "Oh, is AI really going to make an impact? Is really AI delivering value?" This is true value. A client came to us, and they were having challenges regression testing, because their biggest complaint was, "Hey, every time I generate code, I am slow. My QA is my biggest bottleneck, because I can't." They were in the compliance space, they're in the healthcare space. They just can't ship until they have checked all the boxes. And I do have to run all these tests. I can't ship without running these tests, but I can't do it because it takes me that long. So I have to do it now. It's the speed is costing me time, money, resources, everything. We looked at it, what they were building, and we have our own QASource intelligence platform, which actually is amazing. I'm so proud of my team, the platform they've built, being able to take a product and fully automate it. Obviously, there's a human in the loop on the front, human in the loop on the back, and we do all the heavy lifting in between. When we looked at their technical debt, it would have literally taken us 18 months to, obviously, 18 months with the team to automate the regression tests, okay, and fully document them. Utilizing our platform, it literally, we were able to get the project done in 6 weeks. What would have taken us 18 months. And when you do the math, it's not, 18 months is not 72 weeks, it's 78 weeks. And we finished it in 6 weeks. It is a 13x improvement.
Amazing. Because you've built your own AI automation suite internally that's helping you guys move faster.
So yeah, we're plugging AI into every aspect. We are utilizing AI to literally, we can take in now. I mean, this is brand. This is where the world is going. You don't need to give us a particular functional spec. We can take your Figma drawings, PowerPoints. We can take your Word documents. We can generate or plug right into your Jira or Tester, whatever project management tool you're doing. Suck those environments, suck those use cases out, generate test cases automatically within minutes, not weeks or months. We can go ahead and generate automation scripts, not weeks or months, within minutes, really. And again, there is a human required. I don't want your listeners to think that we are replacing humans. What we are saying is literally we are this in this case you saw improvement was 13x. We literally are seeing 3 to 5x improvement is very normal, and we're deploying that across all of our clients. And we're able to produce a lot more, from generation of automation to running of regression suites, and it's making a huge impact. And what I'm saying is, so here is what I want your listeners to know: this going forward, it's not AI that's going to take an engineer's job away. It's the engineer who does not use AI to do their job is the one who's going to lose their job. You're going to have
Right.
to use AI, incorporate that into daily workings for everything.
And what's exciting is everything gets, 5x better, 5x faster, get more coverage in your unit tests and your regression tests. So everybody can move faster, everything's higher quality, and you get more QA done than ever before. If you want to build good products, which I think any founder does.
Well, I mean, it's almost dominating the market or quietly disappearing. That's kind of like the difference.
Exactly. So you've kept churn at QA source really low, and your retention is really high. So what's the secret behind building such a people-centric company?
There really is no secret. We treat people like people. We treat them how we would want to be treated. I mean, thank you for noticing that, by the way. I mean, we do have a 91% retention rate and 94% client retention rate as well, because we believe happy employees, happy clients. So we not only keep our employees, we also keep our clients. And what that is, it's our culture. Our culture is our competitive advantage. I'm of the firm belief, it's not my line. There was a course I took many years ago at Stanford, where it said, culture eats a strategy for lunch any day.
Culture strategy for breakfast. That's a Peter Drucker.
Yeah, somebody, I don't know, I was taking a course there, it came up, and so, and we believe that, and it's our culture of trust, culture of transparency, culture of high expectations, culture where we provide accountability, ownership. My clients ask me, well, why do you do that? I said, well, engineer does not matter what part of the world you go to. What do engineers want? First, they want to do interesting work. Second, they want to be learning and growing. Third, they want to be paid fairly. Fourth, they're like, give me ownership and accountability. And the fifth, leave me the hell alone. So we do all of that. I mean, that's really what our culture
That's a nice summary of what people want, what employees want. Autonomy, right? It's like
autonomy. We don't
meaning.
micromanage. Absolutely.
No, I think I remember this. It's like meaning, autonomy, and mastery are the three big things, right?
Absolutely. Oh, you know what? Oh, that is, who said that line? That's Daniel Pink's book
That's
Drive.
right. That's
That's
right.
so interesting you say that,
Yeah.
because your listeners are going to think we set it up. I actually have the book right here with me.
It looks like you have a lot of books right there with you,
I
behind
do
you,
have a
but
lot of.
oh, nice. It's right on your desk.
He's right on my desk.
That's awesome. Shout out to Dan Pink. Come on the podcast.
Purpose before profit, really. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. It's funny you mentioned that, and it's again, people want to be respected, challenged, and it's just not a. I mean, I read this book. It's on here is because I was talking to my daughter about something, and this I read this book about 15 years ago, and a lot of the practices are baked right into our organization. That's why people stay with us.
Now, before we continue, a quick word about an incredible resource for startup founders. This episode of the Ignite podcast is brought to you by Build, spelled BYLDD. So, what is Build? Well, they specialize with early stage startups, especially non technical founders and teams, helping you build and launch scalable revenue generating software fast and affordably. Most startups can't afford to drop 100K on some big design engineering agency. Freelancers are risky, inconsistent, and full of project management headaches. For 10K in about a month, they can turn your validated idea into a real market ready product. It's built for scalability. Past clients have been accepted into YC, Y Combinator, very impressive, received backing from Google, and raised multi million dollar rounds. And there's an exclusive offer for Ignite listeners. Get a free UI UX design sprint that's 3 to 4 weeks, a deep dive into your product experience, delivered completely free. This is normally a $10,000 plus service. So head to byld.com, connect with Ayush and team, mention the Ignite podcast. Let's get back to it. So speaking of your broader philosophy of leadership, which is amazing, and impact, you and Sonia recently launched some sort of a prize or a gift. Maybe you can tell us about that.
Well, I actually don't want to take the credit away from Sonia. It's really Sonia who spends a lot of time and energy into this, and obviously we as a family do it too. And we don't generally really talk about this stuff. But one thing I am proud of, because I actually wrote a white paper on it. Being, we have a large contingency workforce in India, about 1,300 people there. There's about 100 or so people who are the support staff. These are from who are not paid as much as the engineering staff. Along those lines, this initiative we started over 15 years ago, actually more like almost 20 years ago, where you talk about your background very openly, and one of the ways I believe is, in order for you to change your orbit, education is the most transformative vehicle you can use to change your orbit. And so this is where, in our company, anyone who's making below a certain threshold, we actually send their kids to school. I get in trouble sometimes by saying that private education, I'm not necessarily saying public schools are bad, but depending on where they're in public school in India as well, similar to here.
May not be good public options where they are, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah,
if
it's not like the United States where geographically sometimes you can be in like a really, really good school district publicly, you know?
So what we do is we pay for the children's education. Not only we pay for the fees, we also pay for the books. We also pay for the uniforms. We also pay for the transportation. And I'm so proud of that. It's not only we're taking them from all the way from kindergarten to college. Since we've been doing this for a long time, some of those team members who are working doing the support work, now their kids have gone to become engineers now, who are working in the company, either in the this is one of the employees, child is working in the marketing department on the SEO side of the house. It's kind of cool
Wow.
to see the direct impact, so we're very proud of that.
That's so
And
cool.
so that's again, we do, Sonia does a lot of this stuff, and I don't take a lot of credit for this, but
That's amazing. That's inspiring. It's something I'd love to do eventually as Team Ignite grows and we have more money to do things is identify promising young people and help them get to college. I think that like for me, I had lots of mentors and people along the way that helped me see that path. And a lot of people just don't never see it. Like I was fortunate because I had a couple friends. I was in a decent school district and they had parents that had gone to college and had good jobs and a nice middle class life or upper middle class life. And so I saw, oh, there's a different way to live. And I think that different way to live is education. And that's why I went to college. I was like, oh, it's something kind of snapped inside of me. And it didn't happen for me until like, I think sophomore year, actually in high school. That's when it was like, oh, I better start like getting some good grades so I can like make something with my life here. But a lot of kids never have that realization.
I don't want to digress from your podcast, but that is also on the forefront of my mind now. is what's education gonna look like because of AI? What should the kids be studying? How they should be studying, right?
Yeah, I've been seeing some AI first charter schools now where kids are advancing through grades of math in a matter of weeks or months, because they have an AI there that's infinitely patient and knowledgeable to help tutor them through all the stuff. And like, it makes you think like maybe the assembly line way that we've been, that hasn't really innovated for 150, 200 years. Maybe it's time to reimagine that with AI. Now everyone can get a one-on-one tutor. And Khan Academy kind of did some work in that area, but it was still, it still wasn't customized to each individual pupil, right? I think when you can customize everything to each individual person, that's really powerful.
No, absolutely. Actually, I support Sal as well. We support Sal and at
Yeah.
Khan Academy, and he's trying to reimagine that. But I think again, this whole Gen AI just transformed everything. I mean, now I love learning. I mean, you see the books, I love to learn, but now it's just with AI, you can just sit down and literally, I mean, I go on my walk and I have an intellectual conversation about a topic that I want to discuss.
Yeah, I use deep research anytime I want to deeply understand something that I'm like, oh, like I need to understand that topic. And I just have deep research write me a 20-page paper. And 10 minutes later, it's like the best, absolute best thing I want to read on the topic. And it cites 100 different sources and it's incredible.
Well, the question is now, do you either 20-page paper or you just ask you to summarize it for you as well?
No,
So,
I'll actually read it. Have you used the Notebook LM podcast generator from Google?
yeah, my team has used it, like
It
I
is
told you.
amazing. Like, you basically dump a paper, like a PDF in there or even a book, and then you're just like, "Generate a podcast on this," and it's 2 people talking about the topic, and it's really entertaining, actually. I've used it a few times in the car when I'm on that long 2 or 3 hour, Tesla driving itself down Interstate 80 back to the Bay Area. I'll be like, "Okay, I'll just generate a podcast of something I wanna learn right now." In the moment, rather than trying to find it on YouTube or like Spotify or something.
Yeah,
So
that's pretty
now
cool.
you're getting more involved with early stage startups, especially through Team Ignite. What excites you most about supporting the next generation of founders? Well, you started as a teenager, right? 30 years ago? No.
There's a selfish reason. I mean, frankly, selfish reason really is I want to continue to learn. I want to continue to stay plugged in the field, and I want to continue to feel young. And these guys, we talked about the recent demo day, and being surrounded by these founders was just so inspiring. And all the energy there, and then I want to be able to support these founders, and I want to support them. I want to pay it forward, and I know I'm investing it through you, right? I'm not. I don't want to just offer capital. I think I want to be able to offer them my experience from clarity, the insights, how they can scale up, and how they can build a meaningful organization. That's kind of like what I want to be able to do.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, same. I mean, I can't believe I get to do this every day for free. I get paid to do it actually. So the podcast is for free, but it all interlocks. But
You help people a lot. I mean, you really have a platform and support those people to scale. And I think they're very, very fortunate to have your level of skills, your network, and your insights. And then you and I haven't really known each other that much. And I'm so impressed with what you do and how dedicated you are and how the systems that you built is amazing. So
thanks. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of AI automation, contractors, interns, and me, and thousands and thousands of people like you that support us from LPs to mentors, advisors, partners, programs, resources. And you know what's crazy about it all? This whole Team Ignite thing is that it just really compounds over time. We only started Team Ignite 5 years ago, about 5 years ago, and we started from zero. Like I had 15 or 20 angel investments when I started, but now we have 220 startups in the portfolio, and yeah, it's pretty wild, and it just keeps compounding over time. The network grows, we deepen these relationships, we find new people to help in a variety of ways, and it just compounds over time. I can't wait to see what the next. Yeah, I mean, it'll be really wild. We'll be on fund 5 or 6 by then, and we'll probably have 1,000 startups in the portfolio by then,
that
or
is so crazy,
1,500.
Brian. I just can't believe it. I mean, this is so crazy. I'm so happy for you, man. I got to
Yeah.
tell you, I'm so fortunate that came across you and what you're doing, and I get to learn. And we both are in a very enviable position. I mean, I'm full of
Yeah.
gratitude for where I am at. Absolutely, absolutely.
I mean, it's hard work, but, like, it's also the people around us, right? It's all the people along the way that help you, and it's pretty incredible. All you gotta do is start, just start and kinda just keep chipping away. I never thought I'd be here in 2025 where I'm at now, looking forwards from back in 2020, but anyway, yeah, it's a pretty wild ride.
At the start, like I say, is you can't really learn how to drive in a parked car, you know. So,
That's really true. I love that. You have lots of little one-liners.
and my team's great too, so they actually help me.
Well, I'd love to wrap up with a rapid fire. Sound good?
Sure.
What's the first QA tool a startup should adopt?
No, it's everybody asks me that, what's the best tool? And I asked them back. I'm like, okay, the real question is, what are you trying to learn from your tests? What are you trying to learn from your tests? The first tool, I think, really for me, is the mindset that QA isn't optional. Okay, that's I think the first thing I want founders will be think about. QA isn't an afterthought. QA isn't optional. Tool follows clarity. I mean, there's a dime a dozen, right? I mean, a tool could be, it all depends on your environment, where you are, what technology you're building, what your tech stack, where you're. So the tool will follow, but I think it's the mindset that QA isn't optional. That's what I would really the founders to be thinking about. That to me, that's the most important.
What's a common mistake you see founders make with QA?
Oh, you know the answer for that one. Waiting too long to bring on QA, But like I said, don't bring on QA after the fire starts, right? Prevention beats damage control. There you go, another big one-liner for you. And so, yeah, don't wait too long. I mean, I think that I have seen that happen over and over again. They bring in QA too late. And for us, it's not QA isn't when your product is done. QA is before even a line of code is written. A good QA team worth their salt should be able to find bugs before you even write a line of code. That's kind of like how we feel about it.
This is kind of a variation of the tool question, but if they had to implement a test automation platform, like which one should it be for early stage teams?
If you had to choose one tool, I mean, we are a tool agnostic company. Favorite other tools come and go, right? The best one, I mean, I said the one that fits your stack, your speed, your stage, right? It's what's your stack, what's your speed, what's your stake. These days, I mean, the perfect example, many of the founders will relate to this, is Ruby on Rails, right? Ruby on Rails was all the rage a few years ago.
I remember that was the very first app I built was in Ruby on Rails.
Guess
Yeah,
what? Nobody freaking wants to do Ruby on Rails now. They all hate it.
yeah.
Okay. I mean,
It's too opinionated and too abstracted, right? It's not flexible.
so it's just, I mean, I think it's what fits your stack, your speed, your stage. I mean, don't get married to a tool. I think you got to be adaptable. You got to be able to throw away what's not working. You got to be able to, I mean, that's really what it is. You got to be able to adaptable. You got to be able to change. I mean, that's the only constant, right? And tools come and go. Yeah.
Love that. What's one metric every startup should track for QA performance?
Oh, that's easy. That one is easy because we determine our success is escape defects. I mean, that's it. If it hits production, it hits your reputation, it hits your revenue. Post-release defects, you got to measure that. And I'm not saying there isn't going to be bugs. A good QA team should be able to tell you, identify risk for you. I mean, I have shipped bugs. I mean, I've shipped products with 3,000 bugs, but the founders, the CEOs knew about it. They're like, hey, time to market is more important. I got to generate some revenue show so I can get my next
Yeah, you
round.
can't squash every P3, P4 bug out there, right? Like it's at some point you're just like, I'm gonna live with the P4s and just ship it.
Yeah, P1 post-release defects. I mean, I think that's really one metric, they should all be worried about. Yeah.
P1 post release defects. I like that. Favorite founder you've worked with?
There's so many. I can't really name because I'll get in trouble. So
Maybe you
it's
could describe them and what made them special and not use a name.
Yeah, that's easy. I mean, the one who gave us full trust, right? Gave us full trust, full access, and saw QA as a strategic lever, not an afterthought. I'll be straight up with you. I will not work with a founder or a CEO. It doesn't matter how big or large you are, if you are going to treat me as a second-class citizen. If you're going to tell me, oh, well, I'm going to give you this access, I'm not going to give you that access. I'm like, screw you. I don't want to work with you. Go away. It's the one who, give us full trust, full access. And those are the favorite founders. And we have many, by the way. Those are they're running multi-billion-dollar companies now. So been working with us for decades.
Amazing. If you could start QA Source over again today, what would you do differently?
I think. Sorry, I don't mean to sound arrogant. We made the best calls with what we knew. I mean, I don't rewrite the past. I can't do it. I mean, I just focus on today, and because that's what's going to shape the future. I really, who knows? Could I, would I, should I? If I made that decision, who knows how it's going to turn out? I mean, you know what Steve Jobs said. I mean, you can connect dots looking backwards, right? And I firmly believe that. I wouldn't change anything
I
because
love that. Yeah, that had a profound impact on me. Yeah, you cannot connect the dots looking forward.
I mean, people ask me how you could do this. No, I mean, I actually have in my bar. I have a little magnet which says, "Is my life is based on a true story."
I love that.
So I wouldn't change anything, man. I mean, it's just you make decisions based on what information you had. I mean, that's it.
Is there a country that's underrated for engineering talent?
Oh yeah, we went there. That's why we chose it. We didn't just show up in Mexico just because it was close. I mean, Mexico. I mean,
Oh
nearshore
yeah.
talent, but the time without the time zone tax. I mean, really, that's it. That's where
You know,
we
I
say.
heard they actually churn out more engineers every year than the United States. I don't know if that's true. I'd have to fact check that, but yeah, I found that maybe like maybe this in some subdiscipline or something. I have to look up that stat. I was like,
The United States is so amazing, man. People who are born here, I don't think really realize how good this country is. And Mexico is great, don't take me wrong, but the quality of the talent is still there's a big bar difference between now if you go to Tech Monterrey in Mexico, yeah, it generates, really good talent. But there's a lot of regional schools who may not generate as good quality
yeah,
talent. But still there's plenty of talent available in Mexico.
yeah. So engineering graduates, 134,000 bachelor's degrees in the United States, and about the same in Mexico. That's really surprising. I just asked ChatGPT. That's really surprising. Anyway. Oh, and they have a because they have a larger share of STEM, right? About 40% of the graduates there are STEM versus 20 to 25% here. That's
I
crazy.
mean, I would say what the quality is. I mean, if you look at India probably generates, I don't know, 10 times more or maybe 20 times more than the United States.
Right.
But at my company, we run our own training school as well. That's how we recruit talent. In our training schools, like we have our own aptitude test that we give to the graduates. And from there, we will get them enrolled and then we will hire them. The students who have scored above a certain percentage are allowed to take our aptitude test. Then they take our training. We only hire 5% of those people.
Wow, that's amazing.
So the quality of talent also makes a big difference.
What's the biggest trend in AI testing right now?
That's easy too. We talked about it, right? Gen AI. I mean, that changed the game, man. And really, I mean, now we're really testing. What I say is we're testing now for judgment, not just code, right? We're testing for
Mm.
behavior. So it's just very, very different.
What's the best advice you've ever got from a mentor?
I mean, many. I've been very fortunate to be learning from great mentors. And I think some of the things I just talked about it earlier, which is don't scale chaos. I think that's something that your team here, that some of the listeners can use. Don't scale chaos, process before people, which is kind of like what we just talked about it. And you solve for the long term, right? No shortcuts. Solve for long term, no shortcuts. That mindset has saved us millions, and that is the mindset that we have kept our 91% retention rate, because we take care of our people. It's people are super important. They are not dealing with chaos. They are clarity. They know what to build and how to go about doing that. And same thing with our clients.
Good advice. And what's next for QA Source in the next, call it 5 or 10 years?
Shit, I don't know. 5 years, 10 years, who knows? I have no freaking idea. 5 years, 10 years, I have no idea. I mean, all I can tell you is the next phase. I think that's really how I focus on it. I mean, the world's moving really fast, Brian. 5 years, who
Yeah.
knows? I mean, we in our next phase, I can talk about it. I think right now we're very focused on AI-powered QA at scale. I think that's really one thing really important to us, AI-powered QA at scale. That's like big thing for us.
Yeah.
And again, we are sort of we built a lot of internal tools. So we're turning that playbook into a platform. So every client of ours can leverage it. they can move faster and with less guesswork. That's really what it is for QASource right now. You can't predict 5-10 years.
This has been an amazing conversation. Where can interested people find you online and learn more about QASource?
Well, QASource.com, of course. Anybody who's there wants to connect with me, please do put in there that this is how you found me our team Ignite. I will connect with you and we can talk about it. I love talking to new founders. I think Brian, my team would have a separate area on our website just for Team Ignite podcast listeners with a special offer where they can try out QASource services. And this is risk-free. And this is one thing I wanted to do. I'm offering it to all the founders. I want them to get a taste of QA. Utilize our service. If you don't like it, you get your money back. I mean, that's really kind of like what we're going to do. But I want them to try it out.
Amazing. Love that. Well, thank you so much, Rajeev. It's been amazing.
Thank you so much. It's been fun. And congrats, man, on your success and what you're doing for the world as well. I think I'm so impressed with what you're able to achieve. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much.